You know what happened on Black Friday, Stallions? Besides me not finding any deals that stimulated me down there in the gamer nether regions, the Xbox Series S metaphorically pinched the foreskin of the PlayStation 5, the Series X, the Switch OLED, and the Atari VCS. Just kidding, nobody's buying that piece of crap. Now I'm going to break down exactly why the $300 budget banger Series X outsold every other console on Black Friday.
You're probably saying to yourself, well, AK-40 Kevin, it's because of accessibility. It's the only console that you can readily buy.
You're not wrong, however, that is only one small factor in a big topic, which we're going to cover here today. Let's get it. What is going on, Stallions and Stallionettes? Welcome to the Gamer Heaven. I am your host, AK-40 Kevin, sharing my screen. Some of these articles will be cited or sourced down there in the description below, as I do anytime I cover any news in the gaming community or industry. And sure enough, surprise, surprise, shiver me timbers and twist my nipples raw, the Series S outsold literally every other console on Black Friday. A good portion of that is simply because it is the most readily available console. You can just walk into a Walmart or a Best Buy, and most likely you're going to see multiple Series S boxes on the shelves. Good luck doing that with a PlayStation 5 digital or disc version, or an Xbox Series X, or even the Switch OLED for that matter. So the mentality that a lot of gamers are going with right now is justifying the purchase that they can sell the console later to compensate the price of buying a PS5 or a Series X, or they can give that Series S to a little brother or sister and then buy themselves a full-fledged flagship current generation console. I still got to break myself of calling these consoles next gen, because they are indeed now current gen. We are in the 9th generation of home consoles. The Xbox One and PlayStation 4 are now last gen. It's official. But here's something I want to pull back the meat curtain with and be very transparent and get you guys to understand, get you Stallions out there and Stallionettes to realize the people that think they're settling by buying an Xbox Series S is only one of 3 camps of people that are buying the Series S. So we'll get those people out of the way. They want a PlayStation 5 or a Series X, but in the meantime, they're willing to settle for a Series S in the meantime and then give that to a little brother or maybe sell it on Facebook Marketplace. Fantastic. Moving on from that. The second camp would be people that are only going to buy a Series S for this console generation. They don't plan on getting anything else besides maybe a Switch OLED or something like that, because they either own a PC or they just don't game very often. They're casual gamers. I did make an initial unboxing and review of the Series S. I did make a 3-month, a 6-month review video with my thoughts of owning the Series S. But I'm going to go ahead and summarize real quick as to how it pertains to why this console is selling phenomenally. In fact, was the best-selling console of Black Friday. Now, graphically, the Series S is savagely underpowered over here at only 4 measly teraflops, where the Series X has 3 times as much at 12.1, and the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 5 is no slouch either at 10.3 teraflops. I'm not going to get into the whole console war thing. I'm not going to touch on every single specification of these next-gen consoles, but just to summarize, every single component or part inside of a Series X is more powerful, has more performance than a PlayStation 5, except storage. The storage has a faster read and write speed on the PlayStation 5. Other than that, the GPU, the CPU, the RAM, everything else is more powerful on the Series X. So we're going to come over here to the Xbox homepage. We're going to look at some of the features that the $300 Series S shares with its $500 big brother, the Series X over here. And I made a very in-depth video going neck and neck, tip to tits with all 3 of the consoles. This isn't that video. If you want that, it is linked in the description below. The operating system, the software, is identical between the Series X and Series S. So you are getting all the same features. Whatever a Series X can do, guess what? The Series S can do. What do you mean, Kevin? Well, it's on the same operating system. It does quick resume, which means you can have 3 games minimized in the background like a PC, and it'll quickly, and I do mean quickly, about 8 to 10 seconds, jump from game to game exactly where you're paused at. Unlike the PlayStation 5, which does not do that. It has what's called Switcher. Switcher will take 2 games and basically relaunch them, but it's not where you're at. As where the Series X and S will put 3 games, maybe it's more than 3, but it's at least 3 games in queue. And then if you want to pause a race in Forza and then go play an online match of Call of Duty and then jump over to FIFA, you can just pause and you'll pick up right where you're at. So pretty cool. Ray tracing. You're not going to see a whole lot of ray tracing in a 4 teraflop Series S, but it can do it. VRS, or variable rate shading, is just the shading technique. Spatial sound is kind of the equivalent of PlayStation's Tempest audio engines to give us next generation 3D sound. Here's a big one. one, ladies, take a look. It is thick, 120 frames per second. There are people that say, well, Kevin, actually the Xbox One X from last generation is a better console. Yeah, if you're looking at it teraflop wise, I had a One X. The Series S in every single definition of the meaning is a better console than the One X. The One X targeted upscaled 4K 60. The Series S targets 1440, 120, and there is a vast library of titles that do run at 120 frames per second at either 1080p or upscaled 1440 on the Series S. Almost every title that the Series X runs at 4K 120, the Series S will run at 1440 120. So that's badass. Smart delivery. Well, unlike Sony's dumb delivery that charges you if you have a PlayStation 4 version of a game and then you finally get your hands on a PS5, what happens with Microsoft is if you buy a Series S or X, it'll automatically install the version that is right for your console and optimize it and everything. As we're on the PlayStation, they've made it better with patches and updates recently, but it used to be confusing. Is this the PS4 version? Is it the PS5 version? Sony has pulled a little Husker Du how do you do. Jim Ryan over there and the boys with their greed, it knows no bounds, have been charging customers 10 to 15 bucks to upgrade from PS4 to PS5 versions. I've covered these topics extensively in the past. Some of those videos will be linked down there in the description below. And then just the last feature that I want to mention real quickly, because it is relatively important, is the fact that unlike last generation's Xbox One, and yes, that includes the Big Daddy X, the Series S and X have SSDs, not mechanical hard drives, meaning games boot lickety-split, lick-to-clit. Switching games lightning fast. The read and write speeds of the Series S and X are identical. What is different is the size. And yes, I will say the 512 gigabytes of space on the Series S, which is actually 364, I believe, gigabytes of usable space is not adequate, and you're going to need to expand it, unfortunately. Crappy. Also, the Series S does not have a disk drive, which also sucks if you have a Blu-ray movie collection or you have any disc-based Xbox One or 360 games that you would like to play. Having said that, not having a disk drive is kind of a pro because it shaves $200 off the price of the console, and it makes it the perfect console for Game Pass, which a lot of Xbox Series owners are going to instantly get Game Pass bundled with it. The cheapest and best way to get into the new generation of gaming, the 9th generation of home consoles, is with a Series S, maybe a pre-owned one to save a little bit more cost, one extra controller, and Game Pass Basic. Ultimate if you want access to the EA Play library and want cross progression with the PC and want xCloud to be able to play on your phone and tablet. But if you're just playing it on a console, get the $10 a month Game Pass standard, an Xbox Series S, maybe a scratch and dent special or something, a used one off Facebook or Craigslist or something. If you have hobo stab insurance, go to Craigslist. And then one extra controller if you plan on playing with friends. And with Game Pass, you have a massive library of past games all the way back to the Xbox Original, 360, and Xbox One. Many of the titles, over 100 of them, have the frame rate doubled from 30 to 60 or 60 to 120, meaning old games you used to enjoy for the story are now brought into the next generation with 120 or 60 hertz, which is great. Not to mention AAA first-party titles from Microsoft Studios such as Halo Infinite, Forza, Gears of War, Sea of Thieves if they ever make a sequel to that, Quantum Break, you know, any of the Microsoft Studios exclusives. Not to mention they just bought Bethesda for $7.5 billion, so any Fallout, Starfield, Elder Scrolls, Doom series, all of that to be right there on Game Pass day one. So you don't need to worry about pre-ordering games for 60 bucks a pop. You don't need to wait for midnight releases at GameStop. It's ready on your console, and you can pre-install, by the way, so they're ready to play drop night. So that's the second camp of people right there that are satisfied with the Xbox Series S for what it is, because even though it has a third of the graphical performance of the Series X at 4 teraflops, not 12, it is still a good console. It still targets 120 frames per second. I will take a high frame rate over resolution 7 days out of the week. Now, if you can have both, great. But if you have to pick or choose, you know, PC gamers have been doing it for decades. You're able to adjust, fine-tune graphical settings to get the perfect balance of good graphics and a smooth, buttery frame rate. Awesome. So we got people settling because all they can get is a Series S. We got people that are very satisfied with what the Series S is and see that it's a current generation console and want to get that, and they're good with that. Then the third camp are people that are going to use this as a secondary console. Maybe they have a Series X in the living room and want to have a Series S in the bedroom. Maybe they got a PC in the office. So with Game Pass, they can save their progress on one device, pick it up in the next room. That's pretty cool. Not to mention, like I said, a lot of people are getting Series S's for their kids, but they'll play it every once in a while, or What you can do is engage what's called developer mode on the Series S and X, and that turns these into great emulation consoles, where a lot of people are buying Series S's just to emulate old games from N64, Dreamcast, NES, Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn, the hundreds of retro consoles out there. So instead of owning, several physical old consoles and a library where you have to buy each individual game and hope the actual cartridges aren't rusted out or dusted out and actually work, you can just have a Series S, a $300, very small, very quiet console, unlike the PlayStation 5 and Series X. Very tiny little console that can do retro gaming and emulation for you. That would be the third camp right there. People that are using this for emulation or a secondary console. Boom! With the combination of the fact that the Series S is indeed the easily, I made up another word. You guys love when I do that, and I'm not gonna stop anytime soon. You thought George W. Bush was good at making up words? No, I got this on lock. Lickety snickets. I've got it on lock here. The easiest console to get your hands on right now is a Series S. That is absolutely one of the reasons why it was the best-selling console on Black Friday. But that only applies to the first camp. The other two camps that I mentioned are real people. That is a real demographic of gamers out there, and they want the Series S. Having owned it for about a year now, I got it 2.5 weeks after it dropped. I am in the process of shooting my 1-year review. Like I said, I did one at 3 months, 6 months, as my opinions are ever changing. It is not perfect, and it has its cons. And for me personally, I would not have it as my only console for this generation, but it does have value to me, and it does have a purpose in my gaming setup. And I do think it is a good console, and I see the value in it. Again, like I mentioned, the best value in gaming right now. A slightly used Series S, one extra controller, and Game Pass. Standard, and you're good. I want to hear your opinion of the Series S. Please drop it down there in the comment section below so we can get a little forum going on. If you're sick of being naked and want yourself a Gamer Heaven tee or any other kind of merchandise, there is a link to my shop down there in the description below. I do also upload gameplay footage over there at Facebook Gaming, where I am a partner. If you guys enjoyed my take on this topic, slathering your gamer juices all over the like button will help this video to get seen by more people, which I greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover news in the gaming community and industry, as well as tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing, and honest gaming peripheral reviews, keyboards, mice, headsets, mics, chairs, etc. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.